reward of fasting the entire year by fasting 36 days. 6 extra days. And your body's already used to it, so it's best to do it right after you eat. Yeah? But that's gonna be, you have to make that intention, not before Fajr, before noon, before Dhuhr enters. Okay? So you have a little bit more time. Things which invalidate this fast. What breaks your fast? This is a big topic here. People ask about this one. This is where most of the questions come right here. What breaks your fast? And this is what a lot of people don't know. MashaAllah. A lot of people. Why they say knowledge is important, right? There's a man in Yemen, he was a khatib. He's an imam and khatib. He gave khutbah for 20 years and led salat in a masjid. Okay? Sometimes, the Bedouins sometimes. Maybe they memorize Quran, maybe they have a nice voice, but they don't know fiqh. They didn't study with the teacher. Sometimes people are too shy to teach them what they need to know. That's part of their religion. They don't want to talk about it, but you have to know. Because Prophet Muhammad taught the Sahaba, even when they were with their wives, and when women were in their menstruations, he would teach them these things. They had to know. How else are they going to know? Sometimes you even have his wife teach them too. So there was a man, he gave the khutbah and led salah for over 20 years. And he was giving a khutbah and talking about how important Qiyam al-Layl is, standing in the night prayer in Ramadan. So he said, Ya Akhwan, you guys need to stand up in the night prayer, especially in Ramadan. For the last 20 years, I have been going to my wife during the daytime in Ramadan so I can stand in the night prayer. And they're like, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. 20 years. You didn't know that breaks your fast? You didn't know that's haram? You can't have relations with your spouse in the daytime in Ramadan? Kidding me? Oh, nobody, too shy to tell him. Oh, this guy's got, how much makeup? Each day is 60 days. That's a lot of makeup. Each day he did that 60 days. Things which invalidate the fast. Each of the following things invalidates the day's fast when one knows they are unlawful. When one knows they are unlawful. During the obligatory fast in the month of Ramadan, and remembers one is fasting, you have to also remember that you're fasting. If you forget, you're excused, right? But does them deliberately anyway, and they obligate one to both make up the fast day later and fast the remainder of that day. So if you deliberately break your fast, so he's going to get into, if you purposely, deliberately, knowingly break your fast, then you have to still fast the rest of the day and make up that day later, and it's a sin. Okay? And again, if you absent-mindedly eat or drink, that's not a problem. If you you get through, sometimes you just drink water, you see drinking fountain, you're fasting, you forget, you drink the water. If you forget, and I mean sincerely forget, not like, oh man, I think I'm fasting, I'm not sure. If you really, really forget, then that's considered sadaqah from Allah. It's considered charity. It doesn't break your fast. You continue fasting the rest of the day, no problem. In the Shafi method. Okay, you don't have to make it up in the Shafi method. Okay? But if you deliberately do it, of course, there's a sin and it's haram and you have to make that up. And then the Shafi method, it's a sin, you gotta make up one day. And the Hanafi method, it's a sin, you gotta make up if you made the intention to fast and you deliberately broke the fast, then you have to also make up 60 days. 60 days. For every one day that you made the intention to fast the night before and you did it, then you have to make up 60 days. We'll go to 3 or 5. So this is what it is. He says eating and then drinking. These are the things that break it. If it's delivery, obviously, if somebody forces you, somebody has a gun at your head and says, eat or drink or I'm going to shoot you, you can eat or drink. It doesn't break your fast. You can continue fasting. Okay? You forget, it's sadaqah from Allah. You can continue fasting. You don't have to make it up. Okay? Now, it can become a problem for some people in certain situations. For example, my sister-in-law, she forgot that she was cooking food and she forgot she was fasting in Ramadan. And so she wanted to taste the hot sauce to see if it was too hot or too mild or whatever it was. So she actually she forgot she was fasting, and she ate a spoonful of the hot sauce to see how hot it was, and it turned out to be burning hot. And then she went to get water to cool her mouth and she remembered she was fasting. And that's like, oh man, you can't drink the water because once you remember you're fasting, you can't the whole day, mouth is on fire. So that's a bum deal if you remember at the wrong time. Yeah. So, but that doesn't deliberately anyway. So the first one is eating. What is eating? Okay, anything that can be seen. Anything that can be seen with the naked eye that enters into the cavity, into the stomach or the body, and that is if it comes externally to internally and it goes past the ha. When you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, the ha, the strong ha, which is right here, if it goes past that, from externally in, and you can see it, then that would break your fast. Whatever that is. It can be a rock, it can be food, it can be water, anything that goes in there. Oh, so the ha, when you say ha, it's like in the back of your throat. The ha, it's like kind of I can't. Yeah, it's above your trachea. When you pronounce the ha, the letter, that's if it goes past that from outside in, then that would break your fast. Okay, so be conscious and aware of that. And then that also includes liquids itself, and we're going to get into more detail about that. Drinking water or anything past the ha would also break your fast. And smoking breaks your fast if you're the one smoking. There's nicotine, there's also chemicals, tobacco, that actually goes inside your system, so smoking breaks your fast.
Yeah, question for the ha, you said like external in, but what if it's like it's already in, like phlegm, that it goes like...
We're going to cover all that, Sean. Yeah, it's coming. So, there's a lot more coming on this issue. We're going to cover a lot of issues actually, inshallah. Though not if there is some smoke in the air that one unintentionally inhales. So if you accidentally walk by somebody smoking, called secondhand smoke, that doesn't break your fast. In the Shafi method, bukhur, that they light, it doesn't break your fast, but in the Maliki it does, so be cautious of that. In the Maliki method, if you directly inhale the smoke that comes off of bukhur, that will break your fast in that method. So you have a different opinion on those issues. He says, taking snuff, that's tobacco, up the nose that reaches the sinuses, a ruling likewise applicable to oil or water preparation. So if you have anything that goes into the sinuses, the nose, that goes into the sinuses, or comes back down and goes past the ha, that would break your fast. That would break your fast. Okay? And then also, something that comes up. I guess we'll cover that now. So something that comes from below, people belch, and sometimes food comes up with it, or sometimes phlegm or snot comes up. If it goes from inside the stomach, past the kha, that khalid? Kha, that's up in the top part of the mouth, the throat. Kha. If it goes past the kha from inside, and it goes back in, past the ha, that breaks your fast. Okay? That breaks your fast. You have to spit that out, okay, or wash it out, but you cannot go past the ha and then back into the ha. If you do that deliberately, then you will break your fast. Whether it's liquid or whether it is food or whatever it may be. Now, snot in the head, there's a difference of opinion. Like, you do that, and there's snot that comes from your sinuses, and if you swallow that. In the Shafi method, if there's any snot or phlegm that comes from your sinuses, and it goes past the ha, that would break your fast. But there's a difference of opinion. In some of the other madhabs, that which is in your head is in your head. It doesn't come from outside in, so it doesn't break your fast. In other words, if snot or something comes from your sinuses into your throat or from your mouth, it doesn't break your fast because it's already in your head. Okay? But others will say that it will. Suppositories, vaginal or anal, so people have hemorrhoids, people have things like this, tampons, women should be cautious. These things can and will break the fast. Obviously, these things, in anything that enters a cavity of the body, whether it's, this is obviously no shame in knowledge, and it's important for us to all know and learn so people don't make this mistake. Anything that enters a cavity, whether it's in the mouth, the ears, the nose, the anus, the vagina, anything like that would actually break the fast itself. So people should be aware and conscious of that. So people, when they're doing istinjat, this is where it happens a lot. When you're cleaning yourself from the bathroom, when you go number 2, you should be very careful that not too much water, goes up or in when one's cleaning oneself, because that can actually break your fast. Okay, and women also be careful because things like that can also break their fast. And again, there is a limit. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll get into it. Pouring water, oil, or other into the ears until it reaches the eardrum. So when you actually, in the Shafi method, if water enters or oil enters your ear and it goes into the eardrum, it's considered a cavity. Even your head is a cavity. So is your stomach. If that happens, it'll actually break your fast if you deliberately do it. So swimming can be an issue if water is going to get into your ears and go into your cavity. There may be a difference of opinion on this issue, but in the Shafi method, be very aware when you take showers. Don't go like this underneath the shower and let it all go in your ear. You actually put water and you cup it like this and do like this. This is how you're supposed to do your ears when you take a shower. Water's in your hand and you go like that, so you're actually putting your ear down and it's not going into the ear. Okay, so be cautious when you're taking a shower, a bath, or swimming that water gets into your ear. If you're taking an obligatory ghusl or a sunnah ghusl, if water gets in your ear, it doesn't break your fast because you should be doing that or you must be doing that. Again, if it's accidental. If it's accidental. If you choose to take a shower for no reason, it's not sunnah, it's not wajib, and even if water gets in your ears accidentally, that could break your fast. Alright, so be conscious and aware of that because you choose to take a shower. Or if you go swimming and water gets in your ears, even if it's accidental, that will break your fast because you're exposing yourself to the situation. Okay? So be conscious and aware of that. As for the eyes, there's a difference of opinion, but in the Shafi method, you can't actually break your fast through your eyes. If you use kuhul, even if you taste it, you can't actually do it through your eyes. What are we, 305? Yeah. So then he says, inserting a finger or something else into the anus or vagina, this is again, a lot of times a reference to istinja, further than the area disclosed when one squats to relieve oneself. So inserting any type of finger or device inside the anus or the penis, or if it's or the vagina, this will actually break one's fast. So be conscious and aware of this. And then another thing is, he says, except for the place that shows when you squat. So if you were to squat down and use the bathroom in the anus or in the vagina, that part does not count. So if you get water there, that's external. It doesn't harm for water to reach. If it goes internal, then it's something that could break your fast if it's deliberate. And if it's something that's not necessary. Anything that enters the body cavity, whether stabbed into, such as a knife or spear thrust, which penetrates it, or whether medicine, through intramuscular or intravenous injections, which of the medicine do not break one's fast. This is actually not the dominant position in the Shafi method. So if somebody, the first part is, if you get stabbed in the stomach or in your head, and it penetrates the cavity, that actually breaks your fast. Yeah, if you do it like to yourself, that breaks your fast. And he says intramuscular, intravenous injections do not break one's fast. This is actually the weak opinion. This has actually been overruled. The strong opinion is that it does break your fast. So the type of injections that do not break your fast is if they are extravenous or extramuscular. They're in your muscle or your fat. You get a shot in your shoulder, you get a shot in your buttocks, you get a shot in your fat. That doesn't break your fast during the daytime Ramadan. What does break your fast? If it's like an IV. If it's an IV that goes straight into your veins and into your bloodstream, that does break your fast. Okay, so notice the difference. Taking blood doesn't necessarily break your fast as long as nothing enters into the veins. As they're just taking out, that doesn't necessarily break your fast. Okay, so that's an important point. So what it says here is actually the weak opinion, and the stronger opinion is the opposite, that does break your fast. But in the shoulder or the buttocks or something like that, it doesn't. Nicotine patches do not break your fast. Okay, smoking we said does, hookah does, chew, people have chew or snuff, does break your fast. Okay, and then another thing is inhalers for asthma. Inhalers for asthma, there's a difference of opinion. Some scholars say, well, because you use an inhaler and there's a chemical substance there that's pressurized, and since you have to replace that with a new one, therefore what? Something is obviously missing and goes from there into your body. So some scholars say using asthma will break your fast. Of course you're excused. If you have an asthma attack during the daytime, you're excused to use it. But they'll say it breaks your fast though. And then you have to make up that day again and continue fasting. However, there is a difference of opinion. Some scholars say, well, no, it's just air. And if you use asthma, it doesn't break your fast. You can continue fasting, you don't have to make it up. So you have actually a difference of opinion on that issue itself. Okay? And then he says, vomiting. If it is deliberate and one is able to prevent it, though if nausea overcomes one, vomiting does not break one's fast. If you are nauseous, if you have nausea and you vomit, you throw up, it doesn't break your fast. Okay? But if you do it deliberately, it does. So if you stick your fingers down your mouth, or if you try to make yourself throw up, you will break your fast by throwing up. If it's accidental, you just get sick, you can't control it, and you throw up, it doesn't break your fast unless something else comes back in. If something else comes back into your throat after you throw it up, that will break your fast. Okay? Unless, you purposely swallow, throw up after you throw it up, then that will break your fast. Now, if something comes up and you spit it out, that doesn't break your fast. Okay? Another situation is if you are able to spit something out, you must spit it out. You ate meat for suhoor, right? There's some food stuck in between your teeth. You have to use a toothpick or brush your teeth to try to remove that. If, let's say, you can't see it, or just it falls between your teeth and into your mouth. If you can't spit it out, you must spit it out. Obligation. If it just like goes straight from your tooth down your throat, you didn't have an opportunity to spit it out, it doesn't break your fast because you couldn't control it. If it comes down your teeth and you're like, yeah, I'll spit it out later, and you accidentally swallow it, when you could spit it out, it does break your fast because you had the opportunity, you didn't do it. Make sense? Vomiting does not break one's fast. Sexual intercourse, intercourse is deliberate if there is no orgasm or orgasm from stroking a non-genital region. He goes kind of into that. So I guess we'll just read that. Sexual intercourse if deliberate, even if there is no orgasm or orgasm from stroking a non-genital region or from masturbation, no matter whether such orgasm is produced by unlawful means, like one's hand, or whether by lawful means, such as the hand of one's wife, using so much water to rinse out the nose and mouth. So basically he's saying obviously intercourse with one's wife will break one's fast, even if there is no orgasm, or if there is an orgasm, and even if they don't have sexual intercourse through foreplay, etc., that is something that would also break the fast. Whether it's lawful or unlawful means. Using so much water to rinse out the nose and mouth that some reaches the stomach, i.e. if any reaches the body cavity because of an abundance use of water, it breaks the fast, though if some water slips down and abundance has not been used, it does not. So basically, when you're doing wudu in Ramadan, outside Ramadan, it's sunnah to exaggerate. Right? You do the madmadha and istinshaq and you wash your mouth and your nose, it's sunnah to exaggerate. Outside Ramadan, or in the nighttime of Ramadan. During the daytime of Ramadan, sunnah not to exaggerate. Just, right? Quick, easy. You do it, still sunnah. 3 times, no more. If you exaggerate in the daytime of Ramadan, you're like, and you swallow, it breaks your fast. Because you're not supposed to exaggerate, it's makruh. If you do more than 3 in the daytime of Ramadan, it's makruh, and it breaks your fast. You say, I want to do it 4 times. If you swallow the 4th time, you broke your fast. If you do 3 times and you accidentally break your fast, it doesn't, or less, because the sunnah is 3. When you do overboard, more than you're supposed to, and you break your fast, well, then that's your fault. Okay? Nor does it harm to swallow one's saliva after rinsing out the mouth, even if even able to expirate it. So if you accidentally swallow, so if you have saliva, or if you wash your mouth out, let's say you brush your teeth. This is a question that comes up a lot, brushing your teeth in the daytime. If you brush your teeth and you rinse out your mouth well, and there's no more sugar or fluoride, nothing left in your mouth, and you spit all that out, then you can actually, that doesn't break your fast, even if you swallow. But you should spit, I would say, at least 3 times. Like if you do your wudu, 1, 2, 3, spit 3 times as well, to get whatever is in your mouth out. Okay? But if you happen to swallow after you spit out everything, it doesn't break your fast. Okay? Using the toothpaste during the day, you should use the toothpaste during the nighttime after you eat suhoor and before Fajr comes in. Okay? Tasting in Ramadan during the day is makruh. You taste food, even if you don't eat it, you just taste it. Toothpaste, tasting it or using it is makruh because you're tasting it. If you use toothpaste during the daytime of Ramadan, it's not necessarily haram, but it's makruh because you're tasting something. If you accidentally swallow the toothpaste, you break your fast. And you have to continue fasting the whole day and make it up later. Okay? Why? Because you're not supposed to be doing that anyway. Also, what's considered makruh is using etam, cologne, or musk during the daytime of Ramadan is makruh. It's disliked. Using the siwak, the toothstick, also with brushing your teeth, after Dhuhr enters, is also makruh in the Shafi method. Although Imam Nawawi says it's not. That was his special opinion. So, swallowing saliva that is left in the mouth, such as when threading a needle and one moistens the end of the thread and then re-moistens it, swallowing some of the saliva that the thread has been previously wetted with, So basically, anything that comes out and back in will break your fast. If you spit into a cup and then you drink your own saliva, your own spit, that breaks your fast. Because it's gone past your lips. Once it goes past your lips and out and it comes back in and it goes past the ha, you broke your fast. Okay? So the example they use, if you're threaded and if you have thread and you go like this and you come back, so now the saliva has left your lips, and you come back and then there's a drop of that saliva that goes back in your mouth and you swallow it, that breaks your fast. Okay? So be careful of licking your lips, right? If you do like this, and you do a whole circle, and then you swallow that, and there's actually like moisture or a drop of saliva, that would break your fast when it goes past the hat. You know, people who bite their nails, be careful, people who bite their nails, and then they swallow that will break your fast. Okay? So these are things to not be paranoid about, but be conscious and aware, right?
So even the skin on the lips.
Yeah, people who bite the outside of the lips, right? If you actually bite skin off and you swallow that, will break your fast.
So when you do wudu, the water is in your mouth. When you know that you're like saliva, when saliva is water, because when you do wudu, there's little water that doesn't come out, and then you have saliva. So how do you differentiate that what's saliva, what's water?
Yeah, that's the question.
Sorry?
So you don't know what's water, what's saliva. So I did my wudu, and I tried my best to get the water out of my mouth, and now I have saliva.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
After you do so, you do 3 times, right? And then you still may have some remnants of water in your mouth. Spit 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I do. I spit at least once, but spit 3 times, not like 1,000 times. Some people. All right, you got it. But spit, get everything out. I have a method where, I get everything. I'm gonna spit it out, and that should get it, and then that's fine after that. Any more than that, this is paranoia. You can spit 3 times and fall out.
What do you do if you bite your tongue or bite your...
Yeah, we'll get to that, yeah. We'll get to biting your tongue or bleeding in the gums. Yes, coming from. So he says, swallowing saliva that has been qualitatively altered, such as when threading a needle and one wets the end and some dye from the thread remains in the mouth and is swallowed. So people who use toothpaste should take care to eliminate it from the mouth before dawn on the fast day. So also anything that's mixed with the saliva. If you're also threading a needle, or you're threading a needle or something, and the dye comes off from the thread, and it goes into your mouth and mixes with your saliva, that would break your fast. So if your saliva is altered through blood or dye or whatever, and you swallow that would break your fast. Swallowing saliva that has been made impure, this is your question, been made impure by contact with filth and najasa, such as when one's mouth is bloodied and one spits out the saliva until it's clear and colorless, but neglects to wash one's mouth out before swallowing the saliva, which breaks the fast because the mouth is still affected by impurity. Water is necessary to purify it. This is an important one and often neglected. If people are bleeding, their gums are bleeding, they have a cold sore, they bit their tongue, okay? They have to spit that out until it's colorless. So you're bleeding, you spit that out until it's colorless and there's no blood. That's not all you do. Some people think, I spit it out, there's no more blood. If you swallow now, you break your fast. Because now it's filled with najasa that's still in your mouth, and you didn't remove that because the only way you can remove that is through water. Right? That's how you clean najasa. So if you swallow najasa with your saliva and you break your fast. So if you're bleeding, you spit it out until it's colorless, or you put pressure until it stops bleeding, and then you have to wash your mouth out. You have to wash your mouth out. Wash your mouth out, mix it with the najasa, spit it out so that you get rid of the impurity. Make sense? Allowing phlegm or mucus at the back of the mouth to be swallowed when one could have spitted them out. Okay, so if you have phlegm in the back of the throat, if you could spit it out, you have to spit it out. If you can't spit it out and it goes back in, you can control it, right? Though in the Hanafi school, this does not break the fast. Phlegm in the Hanafi school does not break the fast. So phlegm in the back of the throat in the Hanafi school does not break the fast, even if intentional. Even if it is intentional, so even if you have phlegm that's intentional, and you swallow that or whatever, it doesn't break your fast. According to even intentional doesn't break your fast in Hanafi school. Or to continue, okay, this is another one. Or continue to making love even for a moment after dawn has arrived. So if somebody is in the act of making love with their spouse. Before Ramadan, it's not a problem. In the nighttime of Ramadan, it's not a problem. But then when the Fajr comes in, to continue that even for a moment after the dawn has arrived will break your fast. So continue that even for a moment after dawn has arrived will break one's fast. But to stop doing that immediately as dawn enters does not break your fast. You can actually continue fasting. But a moment after dawn, it does. Inshallah, we'll take another break here. And we'll continue with the criterion for things which validate the fast after a short break. Inshallah, we'll conclude. And then we'll come back for our final session, inshallah, then Q&A after that.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for paying attention to this a little bit. We have another set of snacks out for the brothers and sisters. So please take a 10-minute break and then we'll resume.